Good afternoon. Welcome back to the Baton Rouge Regional for the NCAA tournament. We're joined now by Missouri State, a 61-50 winner last night against Florida State. They advanced to take on Ohio State on Saturday at 1:30 here at the Maravich Assembly Center. Coach Mox will be joining us shortly, but first we're joined by two senior guards. To my immediate left is Sydney Wilson. To my immediate left, 11.6 rebounds last night in the win over Florida State. And on the far side of the table is senior guard Mariah White, 11 points, 3 rebounds, and 5 steals in the win over Florida State. As we have been doing, if you have questions here in person, we ask you to raise your hand and silence your phones. We have a microphone to bring to you for the stream. And if you are joining us via Zoom, if you have a question, you can raise your hand on the Zoom screen and we will get to you once we take care of some questions here in-house. It's nice to see you all. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you so much.
And with that, we'll open up the floor to questions for either Sydney or Mariah.
Before we get into the details of tomorrow night's game, Mariah, you are a graduate senior that picked Missouri State for this very reason to be here. Sid, you have committed to come back next year. Obviously, the Lady Bears are pretty special to you. Talk to us a little bit about those decisions and why you chose to be a Lady Bear.
You go first.
Okay. I chose to become a Lady Bear basically because of the culture that was set here, because the experience that they've had inside the NCAA, the championship culture, the girls, the coaches, and just the example that they set for any team.
And then I decided that I wanted to come back because I felt like I wasn't finished. You know, I love these girls. I love playing with them. I love the coaching staff. The whole university is just, it's family. So I'm not ready to leave it yet.
Mariah, going against your home state university in Ohio, do you know some of these players? How much do you know about the Buckeyes?
Honestly, I know as much as the scout that we went over. I just follow the team that I'm on. I do know one girl that's on the team, but other than that, I'm just worried about beating them tomorrow.
Buckeye fan growing up?
Yeah, I mean, in football, like, if it was, when it comes to, like, Buckeyes against, like, Michigan, yeah, like, I'm always go for Ohio State, of course. So, yeah. So, yes.
Sydney, you've been here a lot of times now, and what made last night a little different in a special way as well?
Yeah, well, this is the first year, they had the first 4 games, so that was kind of special that we get to be written in the books for that and be, accomplished for that. But, we fought through so much adversity this season, losing, really 2 important people in our program, but, we're still continue to fight and come together, and last night's win was just amazing. We had so many fans and family come and support us, and, everyone played so well and just played as a team, and it was really fun.
What about battling through all the foul troubles there, in the second quarter especially, just trying to get through all of that and just kind of the aggressiveness that Florida State showed and you guys able to respond to that?
Yeah, the refs really weren't on our side, but, we're kind of used to that, so it's okay. But we kind of all stuck together and fought. Maya kind of gave us a big spark to lead us into the half. We just all rallied together. Even if it's not going our way, we still have to play our game. Control what we control is what Mox always says, and we just came out.
For you, I mean, you've been on this team for a bit, and there hasn't been too much roster turnover until this year. What's somebody like Mariah brought to you guys?
Oh, I love her. She's a great player. I'm so glad she came. But no, she's a dog. As you saw last night, 5 steals. She can defend the best player. Her pull-up jumper is crazy. She brings so much offensively and defensively. And then, when she's sitting out taking a break, you can still hear her on the bench. She's screaming for everyone. She's everyone's biggest cheerleader.
And Jen and Naya last night coming up with a lot of big plays there, especially on the defensive side. Just what's it been like to watch them grow? Because you're having to play all these positions as well.
Yeah, it's obviously great to see them compete against each other and play. They did amazing last night, as you probably saw from the bench's reaction after every point they scored. But, I love seeing Jen grow. You know, she's been through so much with, you know, her knees and stuff, and she's definitely has stepped up, you know, after losing Jazz and Abby Hip. And then, you know, Naya came in. She got some big boards, big points, too. So she's also stepped up a lot and helped us out.
Mariah, what's it been like watching Sydney just having to play every position on the floor this year, having to step up in a ton of different ways?
Honestly, it's commendable. Like, just to see, like, any role, anytime she's told, like, oh, you're going to be playing this person, like, oh, you're going to be on the block. Like, she's like, okay, all right, we're good. Like, it's nothing to her. And it's amazing to see and just, like, to be able to be behind her while she leads us through any position.
And Sydney, what's it been like for you? Because, I mean, you're playing it. You had to step up in so many different positions this year. Just kind of what are those conversations like when Coach says, hey, I need you to do this, I need you to do that, when it's been everything this year?
Yeah, you know, definitely after losing those two that we lost, I had to step up a lot and play, you know, the 4, even sometimes the 5. And, you know, Coach Mox was like, all right, you got to guard a post. I'm like, okay, like, I'll step up to the challenge. I accept it, you know. It honestly makes me feel, like, really special that she can trust me to play, like, basically any position and essentially play 40 minutes. But I really like it. It's fun.
Mariah, what was your how'd you feel last night? That was your first postseason game.
Yeah.
Were you nervous going in? I mean, you played well, obviously, in the second half. What were
Yeah.
your feelings going in?
I think I was a little nervous. I think it might have showed in the first half. But once we like settled in, I think us as a whole, like as a team, we had to settle in. And just I kind of talked about it yesterday, like having a win like that, whether it's the first 4 or we were in the first like round game, like it solidifies that like we're here for a reason. And like we're gonna get this done. We're not just here just to be in the tournament. Like no, we're here to win. And like me individually, like okay, you're on this team that has been to the NCAA for all these years, but like you're here to contribute to this team too. Yeah.
Sydney, Coach Mox has talked about it a few times, but just how much adversity you guys have dealt with over the season, and especially last night with the foul trouble adversity you guys had last night, and you keep overcoming that adversity. How does that help you now that you're in the tournament and moving forward into tomorrow?
Yeah, it definitely helps us. You know, no matter what we face, we realize that if we just stick together, we can overcome anything. You know, whether it's refs, injuries, anything. And we have such a deep bench and a very versatile team that no matter who's in foul trouble, the next person's ready to step up, for sure.
And being in the first 4, getting a game under your belt this year already, do you think that helps you moving into tomorrow, where Ohio State hasn't played yet?
Yeah, I honestly feel like it does. It kind of gives their jitters out for our first timers, and especially me too. You know, you get to be underneath the lights with the fans, you know, the arena, the nets, and all of that. But it definitely gets us underneath the belt.
Anybody else in person? We're clear on the Zoom. Any other questions for them? We're all good? Sydney, Mariah, thank you all very much.
Thank you
This
so much.
afternoon. Thank you for your time.
Thank
Coach Mox
you.
will be
Thank
joining us
you.
shortly here. We'll continue our conversation with Missouri State. Until then, a recording of this press conference will be available in the NCAA Digital Media Hub at ncaa.veritone.com. Transcripts provided by ASAP, and they will be posted shortly. We'll be back shortly with Coach Mox. Until then, thank you for joining us. Welcome back to Baton Rouge as we continue talking with Missouri State, a 61-50 winner last night against Florida State. Missouri State will advance to take on Ohio State Saturday at 1:30, the first game of the session here in Baton Rouge. We are joined by Coach Mox. Again, as always, if you have a question, please raise your hand for the microphone. If you're joining us via Zoom and you have a question for Coach Mox, you can click the hand raise on Zoom and we will come to you. Coach, we were just together just 12 hours ago post-game, so instead of asking you really for an opening comments, since we had a chance to hear from you last night, let me ask you this. Now that you've slept on it, had a chance to watch some film, is there anything that maybe stood out to you now that you've seen it from when we got your immediate reaction last night from the win over Florida State?
Not much. Obviously, I did watch the game before I dove into Ohio State. I liked how we played. I thought we had great intensity about us, toughness. We played together. I thought in that second quarter we got away from the game plan a little bit defensively, and they were getting downhill on us a little bit more than I wanted. But we talked about that at halftime, and we made some adjustments, and we came back out. But offensively, we did a good job of attacking certain parts of our offense that we wanted to early, and I think that's why we went up pretty big too. And then we kind of lost that a little bit in the second quarter, and then came back strong at the end. So I liked what I saw, and we just have to carry that momentum on.
Questions for Coach Mox?
Coach, how'd you stay away from fouls after that second quarter? Because that was brutal. But the second half, they didn't shoot a free throw in the third quarter. What was the difference for your team defensively?
I mean, we just had to focus on us. Again, control what we can control. We can't control that. So at the end of the day, we can control if we're walling up or if we have two hands on somebody or if we're hand checking or whatever. So we just had a little bit more attention to detail with what we were doing defensively, and but still maintained our aggression and how aggressive we were playing. So honestly, we just really focused on us. I told the players, don't worry about foul calls, don't worry about refs, don't worry about anything like that, because that's not something that we can control. And we just stayed in tune with each other and just stayed together and just pressed on forward.
Were you worried at all about some of the newbies that played their first NCAA game last night? Obviously, Mariah had talked about her being nervous in the first half, but obviously felt more relaxed in the second half. What about the others?
I wouldn't say worried. I think everybody has to kind of get settled in. Once you get under the lights in any tournament, so whether it be our conference tournament or the NCAA tournament, you got to get settled in that first game. We started out great, and I loved how we started. And yeah, so Mariah was a little bit nervous. I thought Nia was a little bit nervous when she came in, but Jen is a newbie, and she wasn't nervous. She started out great. I thought her intensity was something that we hadn't seen all year. The way she started. So I think everybody, I thought Bryce was a little bit nervous, and Bryce is a 6-year senior. She settled in. So I think everyone has that, I guess anxious or nervous energy, but at the end of the day, once you settle in, you're fine. So I wasn't worried about anybody. I knew Mariah was going to step up. She waited her whole career for this moment. I knew she wasn't gonna let that pass by. Same with the rest of our seniors that led, Maya, Wilson, Bryce. Obviously Jen and I played great. Paige came in, gave great minutes. So just all down the line, I think everybody, once they settled in, we were good.
Got Ohio State tomorrow. You know a little bit about the program. I know you've got coaches on your staff that know about the program as well. How does that help you in preparation for that game?
It helps. They're a little different now. The last time I played Ohio State, they had, Kelsey Mitchell and some of those people that are now in the WNBA. So they're a little different, but same kind of philosophy, I guess you could say. Same coach. So it definitely helps because we're familiar with his style. Very, very offensive-minded team. Even though they are going to press, they're going to press and try to speed us or slow us down that way, but they're going to try and speed us up on offense. So they play fast, early offense, transition, all that. And he's always been that way, and he does a great job coaching them up. And so we understand the pace of the game is going to be very fast. And so I guess that's a little bit of an advantage, or I guess you say upper hand, because we do know him well. But at the same time, it's different kids, different year. So it's not exactly the same team.
Coach, what are those conversations like with Sydney throughout the year when you're having to move her around different positions all over the place?
Yeah, Wilson is like, I said it a million times. She's the glue of this team, X factor. I feel like she doesn't get as much respect as she deserves. Average up double figures all year. I think she was around 10-7 all year, or 10-6, something like that. And, multiple games she was our leading scorer. So it's not all about scoring. She defends at a high level. She can defend 1 through 4, 1 through 5. But she's just selfless, and that's what makes her great. She wants to do whatever she can to help the team be successful. And so if it means she's got to play the 4, she's got to play the 5 a couple times she had to play this year, or she's got to, guard a guard, whatever it is, she's willing to do it because that's who she is by nature. She's a giver, and she just wants to continue to give to this team. So, it's never really like I have to force her into a role. It's just kind of like, hey, this is what we need, and this is where you're going to be successful, and this is how you're going to do it, and it's okay. And then she does it every time.
You were able to go back and watch last night. What did Bryce do defensively in that? Because she's holding a 2-time first team All ACC player to 4 points last night, and I mean that doesn't really show up on the stat sheet for her, but that's what she's doing out there.
It's really unreal. I've said it time and time again. Bryce is the best defensive guard I've ever coached. I mean, multiple times this year, she's held kids that were averaging 18, 19 on the year to 0 points, like literally 0 in a game. And obviously, it's a team defense. We have gaps around people. We help her out. But, she just is great one-on-one. She understands angles. She's physical. She contests every single time. She doesn't take breaks. And that's the sign of just a determined, great player. I mean, she plays at a high level on both sides of the ball for basically the whole game. So that takes a lot, and she takes pride in defense. Now, her offensive game has grown tremendously over the last couple of years, but one thing that she actually takes pride in, she kind of leads the charges in for our team, is defense. So it's not like you got to convince the kid, okay, I need you to lock in for this game because this kid is a really good scorer. No, that's just who she is, and it's something that she looks at on the stat sheet. How many shots did they take and how many did they make? Because she wants to make sure she's holding people under their average, way under their average.
Hey, Coach, I'll ask you the same question I asked Sydney, but how does getting a game under your belt in March Madness yesterday help you guys moving forward, especially into tomorrow where Ohio State hasn't played yet?
Oh, it's huge because, we feel like we're in rhythm now, and so now going into this game, those jitters are out. There's not going to be any nervous or anxious energy. It's just going to be, what's the game plan? Let's go in there. Let's have some fun and implement it and play together. So I think, those maybe some of the kids that subbed in or started with a little bit of those jitters, you're not going to see that as much because now we already got that out. We were under the lights. We had some success, too. It wasn't, we played pretty well. So I think that's just a confidence booster moving into the next game.
Coach, we have a question for you via Zoom. Jacob Myers, if you will unmute your Zoom on your end and ask your question straight through, please, and your opportunity to ask for Coach Mox.
Hey, Coach. Jacob Myers with the Columbus Dispatch. I just wanted to ask you about defending J.C. Sheldon and Taylor Mikesell. What kind of challenges that presents to both of you, to your team?
Those two kids are phenomenal. Taylor Mikesell, she's leading the country in three-point percentage or three-point made baskets. She's can really, really shoot it. Quick release, deep, behind screens, off the bounce, catch and shoot. Phenomenal shooter. And JC is, she's an all-around player. I mean, she's so athletic, gets downhill. She really makes them go in transition. Both of those kids play both sides of the ball, too. They defend at a high level. They're top of the press. And they play 40 minutes, basically, both of them. So I think they account for 45 points, combined. And so that's obviously a big task. But, again, we've played against high-level players, especially in non-conference, but throughout our conference, too. So our kids are used to defending kids that can score, and we're used to defending the three-point line. We do a really good job of doing that. I mean, yesterday, Sammy Puisis, she got off, I think, 2 shots in that whole game because we really keyed in on, how good of a shooter she is, how deep she shoots it, and we just paid attention to detail with that. So this is going to be no different. It's not going to be easy. Obviously, it wasn't easy yesterday, and it hasn't been easy all year, but it's going to be a focus. You have to. Those two kids are really, really great players, and they're two that we have to key in on.
We are clear on Zoom. Any other questions for Coach Mox here? Coach, I know practice is at 2:50. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
For the media here, Missouri State's practice starts at 2:50. First 15 minutes are open. Jackson State will be here at 3:45 for their press conference as they get ready for LSU on Saturday. As for this press conference, a recording will be available in the NCAA Digital Media Hub at ncaa.veritone.com. Transcripts are provided by ASAP. They will be posted shortly. We will see you back here at 3:45 for Jackson State. Until then, thank you for joining us.